Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit BillHowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi, and Balboa Park has been transformed into a festive wonderland. December Nights 2025 is here. And KPBS reporter John Carroll is live in the park. And John, I understand that you have been checking out some of the last-minute setup.
I have, Maya. You know, this is the biggest holiday event of the year in San Diego. In fact, the city is expecting more than 350,000 people over the course of tonight and through tomorrow. And as I can move out of the way here, and you can see things are already hopping. Seems like a lot of them are here. So we will talk transportation in just a moment. But first, as you were saying, Maya, an event of this magnitude takes quite a bit of setup, and we were indeed checking that process out earlier today. It's Balboa Park's time to shine.
Oh, it is going to be incredible. We have new things happening, and we have some of the old standards as well.
Amongst the new, the Après Tavern, right in the middle of the Plaza de Panama.
That is a 21 and up special place for adults who want to get a light beverage and then also want to enjoy one of our stages.
On the stage right next to Après Tavern will be this year's headliner, Grammy Award-winning singer Frankie J. He'll be entertaining tomorrow. Everywhere you look today, folks were busy getting ready. Of course, that includes just about every type of food you can think of, from these fair-style vendors to one of the jewels in the Balboa Park crown, the International Cottages.
We're getting ready for the sales part of our food.
We asked Amelia Ruelas about that food, and just like offerings at all the international cottages, it sounded absolutely delicious.
We're going to have corn in a cup, churros sundaes, tamales, champurrado, plantains, fried plantains, aguas frescas made with real fruit, none of that syrup stuff.
The grand Christmas tree at Spreckles Organ Pavilion will break forth with beauteous light at 6 tonight. You might have noticed over the last few years, if you've looked closely, that Santa and his reindeer, yes, including you, Rudolph, have looked a little sad. But not this year. Thanks to a dedicated group of volunteers who contributed about $25,000 worth of paint and labor, things are back to looking holiday happy. Right, Santa? He said yes.
This is the kickoff to the holiday season, no matter how you celebrate, and you get to see the color, the lights. You'll hear holiday music. It just kind of harkens back to sort of maybe an older time or when we were all young and what it felt like to enjoy the holiday.
Now, as we come back live to this festive scene, let's get you up to speed on transportation. So you can drive here if you want, but just be ready for huge crowds, which of course means big delays. And the rule of thumb, by the way, for parking lots is that the closer you get to the action, the more expensive parking will be. Earlier, I saw a sign that said $50 to park in one of the lots. So best to take public transit. MTS will drop you off at the borders of the park. There is also a free shuttle that runs every half hour from here to the big parking lots over at City College, and the great thing about that is it's free. The event runs tonight until 11 o'clock and then tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. A beautiful, festive, traditional San Diego holiday scene. Live at Balboa Park, John Carroll, KPBS News.
Well, we have a chilly night tonight, down into the 30s in most interior areas. 38 in Ramona, 38 Escondido, El Cajon 39, Mount Laguna 39, Campo down to 31, down below freezing near the border. And overall, there is some good news if you're maybe a little uncomfortable with the chill. We have a warming trend. In fact, we're going to warm up in a big way. In the middle of next week, we may even see a near record high in San Diego come Wednesday. We'll talk about it coming up.
Sharp Healthcare says a federal mediator will join its labor negotiations next week, and that's as a new dispute is emerging between the company and its nurses following the recent three-day strike. KPBS health reporter Heidi DeMarco says it's regarding Sharp's average nurse salary.
During the first day of the strike, Sharp announced nurses make
current average salary of $160,000.
Union leaders say that's the first time they heard that figure and say it doesn't reflect what most nurses make.
The question is she counting PTO and retirement benefits? Is it a total compensation package? In which case, implying and stating that it's wages is misleading at best.
Pamela Chandran is the union's chief negotiator. She says it takes nearly 3 decades to reach the kind of pay Sharp described.
At 18 years, I feel like I should be making the average, or potentially maybe a little more, but I'm still, they said the average is $77 per hour. And I make 75. So
Danielle Begley is a surgical procedure nurse at Sharp Memorial. She says Sharp's framing hides the real struggles around affordability, retention, and morale. Sharp maintains its average is accurate and reflects the true scope of nurse compensation. They say it includes total cash earnings, not just base pay.
We ran all the earnings for the bargaining unit nurses. So these are our clinical nurses, our advanced clinicians.
Rita Asayan is Sharp's chief people officer.
We took all those earnings divided by the amount of people that we have in the bargaining unit, and the average hourly rate is a little above $77. So that's inclusive of regular time, preceptor time, orientation, shift differentials for our nurses. There are multiple factors that contribute into the pay.
I'll begin with a brief overview of where we stand with our negotiations with the nursing union.
Susan Stone is Sharp's chief nursing officer. She says nurses may be comparing the number to the wage grid, not what shows up on their paychecks when pay premiums are included.
Is that their base minimum pay? No, we never said that. It is the total gross income divided by the number of nurses that we have.
Begley says the bigger picture is how the inflated figure is being perceived publicly.
It's very misleading, and it feels very wrong.
Negotiations are expected to continue next week with the help of a federal mediator. Heidi DeMarco, KPBS News.
The Marines today identified the Marine killed Wednesday at Camp Pendleton as 21-year-old Private First Class Tanner Rubio of Dixon, California. He was killed in a training incident involving a tactical vehicle, but the service isn't providing any details, citing an ongoing investigation. The 1st Marine Division says the training is not related to an ongoing large-scale exercise at the base. Changes could be coming to the childhood vaccine schedule. A federal vaccine panel voted to nix the decades-long recommendation that infants be immunized at birth against hepatitis B. The CDC makes the final decision on vaccine recommendations, but typically aligns with its advisory panel's vote. Karen Kafa has the story.
A major change on vaccine recommendations for U.S. infants. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Vaccine Advisory Panel voted Friday to stop recommending all newborns receive a vaccine against hepatitis B, reversing a recommendation in place for 3 decades.
The language offers flexibility, access, coverage at any time. I vote yes.
The lead up to the vote saw delays, contention, and confusion.
We absolutely have not reached consensus.
The members of the panel were handpicked by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a longtime anti-vaccine activist after he fired its 17 sitting members this year. Friday's vote prompting more concern from former panel members.
This RFK Jr. inspired ACIP is full of people who are anti-vaccine activists and science denialists. So you know that the decisions that they're going to be making are not science-based. I worry more about this vote today than anything that's happened so far.
3 members of the panel voted against the change.
I will just say we've heard do no harm is a moral imperative. We are doing harm by changing this wording, and I vote no.
Hepatitis B is a liver infection caused by a virus. It is highly infectious and can be dangerous to children and infants and make them more likely to develop chronic disease. The panel's recommendations shape doctors' guidance to patients, as well as state vaccine policy, insurance coverage, and the Vaccines for Children program. In Washington, Karen Kafa, KPBS News.
The Safe Parking program in Encinitas is ending. Jewish Family Service runs the program and says it will close it at the end of the month. KPBS North County reporter Alexander Nguyen looks into why.
The Safe Parking program is operated at the Encinitas Community and Senior Parking Lot. It has spaces for up to 25 cars each night, serving people who live in their cars.
I feel bad for them because I think they need a place to go.
Greg Trachtenberg lives around the corner from the lot and plays basketball at the community center every day. He's sad the program is ending.
I don't know if it's a money thing, but I thought it was really working pretty well. It's been here for a couple of years.
Encinitas Mayor Bruce Eller says it was a money thing. The city had offered to fund the program for a 6-month extension. Jewish Family Services say that wasn't sustainable. Eller says it was a shock that JFS turned down the extension.
They just done a 6-month extension with us and did not have a problem with it 6 months ago when they did it. But this time they said, no, we can't do that. We can't hire people for just 6 months. But they just did it. I don't know why the story changed.
JFS declined an interview with KPBS, but told the city council last month that it couldn't do a program with integrity and compassion for 6 months. The agency had asked the city for a 1-year contract, costing $610,000.
Jewish Family Services say they will close this lot at the end of the year, and they say they will provide participants with additional resources.
I think that it's too bad that they have to find another place to go.
According to JFS, in October, 17 people used the lot. The only other safe parking program in North County is in Vista. That is also operated by JFS. Alexander Nguyen, KPBS News.
Another setback in the Tijuana sewage crisis. A new break in a Mexican sewage line sent raw sewage into our South Bay communities. U.S. International Boundary and Water Commission officials say they're working on improvements at the Hollister and Goats pump station when the line broke, releasing 120,000 gallons. They say the line broke because of recent rain. Our media partner KGTV spoke to a resident who says the pollution has impacted them in a surprising way.
We got broccoli and Swiss chard, and over here we have some parsley. They basically flourish because the water, the sewage water, is high in fertilizer.
Very interesting. And the damaged sewer line is now contained, and officials say they'll keep vacuum trucks in place until all flows are fully under control. San Diego's Midway Rising project was delayed once again in recent weeks, extending the timeline on the $4 billion development. It aims to revitalize the area north of the San Diego International Airport and replace the Pechanga Arena with a new event center. But it's been held up by legal challenges. KPBS Public Matters reporter Jake Gata has the story of how we got here and what is next.
Midway Rising is a major development that could revitalize this area that's full of parking lots, warehouses, and big box stores. It's a key part of Mayor Todd Gloria's plans to boost housing production, especially affordable housing.
It will be the largest affordable housing project in California history, and we are proud but not surprised that that's happening right here in San Diego.
It's been in the works for years now, and it just got pushed back again. But to understand why this project keeps getting delayed, we have to go back in time to 1969. Way back then, Pacific Beach residents learned this building was going up here on the bluffs. And they were terrified development like this would block their views of the ocean and bring unwanted population density to the neighborhood. Well, they couldn't stop this one, but they got together and gathered enough signatures to put a stop to any future tall buildings. A 30-foot height limit was approved by voters in 1972 and put a cap on development west of I-5 to this day. But recently, city leaders have been trying to change that. In 2018, the city rezoned the entire Midway area to allow for 10,000 new homes, and they did the review required by the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA. They also wanted to exempt the area from that height limit to facilitate projects like Midway Rising. Here's what Councilmember Jen Campbell told KPBS in 2020.
It can become not only an area for a new sports or entertainment arena, but also a vibrant transportation, residential, commercial, recreational, and employment area.
The city put forward a ballot measure in 2020 to remove the height limit restriction, and a majority of San Diego voters approved it, but not area resident John McNabb. He leads a small group called Save Our Access that challenged the height limit exemption in court.
Save Our Access filed this lawsuit because of the severe impacts that this project would have on San Diego.
The lawsuit claimed the city's initial environmental report didn't study the potential impacts of tall buildings. The courts agreed. So the city went and studied the impacts of tall buildings. Voters reapproved the measure in 2022, and Save Our Access sued again, saying the city essentially had to redo the whole environmental report to include tall buildings. The courts once again agreed. McNabb says his primary concern is traffic for Midway Rising.
You put 150,000 to 200,000 people here, you freeze the freeways. The north-south corridor people take every day.
The development team says they're working with the city and transit agencies to reduce reliance on cars for the project. That includes building things like bike lanes and walking paths. McNabb isn't convinced.
You're going to jam and cram all these people in here. What are the impacts to the quality of life of everybody?
He told me he wouldn't support Midway Rising even if it was built below 30 feet. UC Davis law professor Chris Elmendorf said the city believed its first environmental report was sufficient. He argues the court should have deferred to that analysis.
That's the only way that CEQA can be implemented in a manner that allows like a modicum of predictability for the city.
Elmendorf says the state legislature has passed laws in recent years to minimize what he calls CEQA abuse.
For the court just to say, none of that has any bearing on whether we interpret CEQA in a way that allows one rando who doesn't like dense housing to hold it up for a decade, that's insane.
But former San Diego planning director Bill Fulton said the courts probably ruled how they did because the issue was a ballot measure.
The judge made that point very, very clear, that particularly in the case of a ballot measure, the public needed to know all of the potential environmental impacts, not just those that had been previously discussed.
Mayor Gloria says the city is going to appeal that decision to the California Supreme Court. That case could make it easier or harder for cities to fulfill CEQA's requirements. But the Midway Rising project has another tool it may use to exceed the 30-foot height limit regardless. The development team said the state's density bonus law lets them exceed that threshold because the project includes affordable housing. The timeline on Midway Rising, however, has been extended even further as the city and developers reevaluate their path forward. Jake Gata, KPBS News.
And Public Matters is a partnership with KPBS, iNews Source and Voice of San Diego. You can see more of our stories at kpbs.org/Public Matters. Treating patients without harming the environment, that is the goal of the nation's first all-electric acute care hospital opening next week here in California. Maribel Gonzalez gives us a behind-the-scenes look of the facility, hoping to lead the way.
This is the first all-electric hospital.
UCI Health Hospital in Irvine, California is breaking ground in more ways than one.
What that means is there's no natural gas coming into this entire campus.
It's welcoming patients this month and also opening the door to hospital innovation.
Hospitals operate 24/7, 365, 366 on leap year. We never turn off. They're incredibly energy-intensive buildings.
According to the American Medical Association, the U.S. health system is responsible for 8.5% of carbon emissions in the country.
Operations here have no negative externalities, and we're trying to do what's best for our immediate community here.
This 7-story, 144-bed facility is powered by sustainable means, like solar panels and the energy produced by water running through these pipes.
I'd say like 80% of it is water.
Even the kitchen runs on green.
Every appliance you see here is electric. There's no natural gas, but that doesn't mean that I can't make your smash burger.
From the setup of robotics analyzing samples to the use of artificial intelligence inside patients' rooms.
It listens to the conversation, so it's more natural, like you and I now, having a conversation and not me behind a computer typing.
Doctors say high-tech is not only fueling critical care, but also emphasizing human interaction.
This is the way healthcare should be operating in regards to healthcare without harm.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Well, it's been kind of a cool time. Still a chilly night on our hands across the region. A lot of us in the interior are going to get down into the 30s. A couple of the coldest areas far to the east are going to get down near or below even freezing tonight. But with a pleasant weekend will win out with a gradual warming trend, and we're going to turn downright warm into next week. Come Wednesday, we may see a near record high in a few spots, including in San Diego. But tonight, 46 for San Diego, clear to partly cloudy skies, coldest inland for sure, and a cool start to your Saturday. But otherwise, we will be dry. You can see some snow up there into the Rockies for the ski fans. If you're planning a trip up that way, they're getting into it. But during the day, after a chilly start, we have a nice rebound. Temperatures surging back into the low 70s in Ramona, El Cajon, Escondido, Borrego Springs. Mount Laguna, 54, a cool one for a hike. But as we take a look at San Diego, 68 degrees for your high. Chula Vista, 69. A little warmer on Sunday. Warming trend, winds out. The cold air restricted to the interior part of the nation there in the plains and the east, the Midwest, very cold. And again, the warming trend continues to take over. This big ridge of high pressure flexing its muscle next week across the west. That will make things extraordinarily wet up in Seattle. And we're looking at not just feet, but yards of snow up in the high elevations of the Cascades. But also snow levels are relatively high, so you have to get way up there in the mountains. But just an inundation of rain for the Pacific Northwest. So our pleasant weather is kind of at their expense. The ridge holding for us, diverting the storm track right up into British Columbia and the state of Washington. As we look at the coastal forecast here, plenty of sunshine, certainly a warming trend taking us into Tuesday. It's going to be a nice time, lots of sunshine. Again, we'll be in the low to mid 70s Wednesday. We'll keep an eye out for a couple of near record highs Tuesday, Wednesday. Inland areas here, we warm up nicely into the mid 80s, very warm, still in the 80s on Wednesday as well. Again, we'll keep a close eye. We may have to bump that up slightly. The trend is a little warmer into Wednesday. And the mountains here, we are, again, recovering from some cold nights. A couple more cold nights coming, 20s, then bouncing into the 30s, and then by Tuesday night, lows will be around 40, and Wednesday really breaks out into some nice weather there in the mountains. In the deserts, here we are, temperatures in the 70s, slowly creeping up there. By Wednesday, we're very warm, back up to 80 degrees, so I think it'll be very comfortable. If you like the warmth, it's coming back for a bit. For AccuWeather, I'm Jeff Cordish here on KPBS News.
And this next story is something I'm personally very excited about. So last November, a TikTok video made Marigold Bagels so popular that the business had to move up plans to expand from a booth at a farmer's market to an actual storefront. And KPBS arts reporter Beth Accomando says a year later, Marigold Bagels is finally ready for its grand opening tomorrow at its new North Park home.
We are here at the new Marigold Bagel storefront on El Cajon Boulevard. It was almost a year ago today that I met Mike Rabinowitz, who's the owner of Marigold Bagels. He had a TikTok video make his business go viral, and in order to meet the demands of everybody who wanted bagels, he had to open this storefront here. So let's take a look inside. And here we are at the new Marigold Bagels. Mike, this is a big day for you.
Yes, how are you?
Finally, your storefront.
Yes, we're very excited about it.
So now, you used to have online and at farmers markets, bagels available.
Right.
So it's been a little bit of a long and rocky road to the storefront?
Well, I don't know if it's been rocky. It's been great. It's been a challenge, of course, and it's been sometimes overwhelming. Going from the home kitchen, which was a small operation, and my refrigerator couldn't fit anymore, so we got a shared kitchen. We eventually got a ghost kitchen. We're sort of moving up every step, and that's all been great and fun challenges. And now, of course, we're here.
You used to have a limited number of bagels you could make, about 500. So what are you up to now?
Well, we can make about 800 a day now, which is actually not that uncommon for a bagel shop our size. I think at the beginning we probably will have a higher demand just because we're relatively new and people have been waiting for a while.
Now, part of the reason why your business has gone kind of viral and people are demanding these bagels is these bagels have a New York soul or something like that. What's special about these?
New York soul, San Diego heart. What's special about them, I mean, it's a 4-day process, and we really do use the oldest of traditions. I mean, we use very high protein or strong flour, which is 14%, so high gluten, right? When people ask me, do you have any non-gluten, I say, actually, we use extra gluten. And it's not on purpose. I mean, it's just how the bagels are made. Flour, water, sugars, yeast, and salt. That's it. Played around with temperatures, times, cooking, had friends who were taste testers, people in my building, and sort of narrowed it down.
And you came to this after retiring from being a chemist.
Yes. I don't know if you ever retire from being a chemist. It's always like with you. It's sort of built in. But yes, I was a research chemist for 32 years in pharma and biotech.
And you put that kind of scientist approach to kind of concocting your recipe here.
Yes, it was very interesting because it turns out baking, the important things in baking I found are actually sort of the important things in chemistry. But it turns out when you're baking, you pay attention to temperature. You pay attention to quantities, having the comfort of weighing everything in grams, right? No, we don't use cups or ounces or gallons, but everything is just weighed out in grams and kilograms. That was a very comfortable place for me. And it also led to very reproducible results.
All right, and now you are going to be having your grand opening on Saturday, tomorrow. So I think it's now time for me to finally get to order a bagel sandwich. All right, I'm Beth Accomando for KPBS News here at Marigold Bagels.
Beth really does have all the fun. And you can find tonight's stories on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you for joining us. I'm Maya Trabulsi. Have a great evening.
Major funding for KPBS Evening Edition has been made possible in part by Bill Howe Family of Companies, providing San Diego with plumbing, heating, air, restoration, and flood services for over 40 years. Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE or visit billhowe.com. And by the Conrad Prebys Foundation, Darlene Marcos Shiley, and by the following. And by viewers like you. Thank you.